Hello, welcome to morning's edition of the Daf Yomi, Nazir Daf 9. I've used ChatGPT to get an overall study guide of today's Daf, so let's dive straight in with that. Over Nazir 9. The tractate focuses on the laws of Nazirite vows, a series involving abstention from great products, haircuts, and purity from contact with the dead. Daf 9 deals with various conditions and intents surrounding Nazirite declaration, emphasizing language, intent, and context. Main topics: conditional Nazirite vows. The Gemara explores cases where individuals declare Nazirite status conditionally. Examples include scenarios in which people make Nazirite-ship dependent on future events or ambiguous statements. Implication of statements. Discussion centers on the nature and implication of unclear or double meaning statements. When is a person considered a Nazir? If the vow's language is not clear or conditional. Disagreement between the sages. Various opinions are presented by the sages examining the scope of intentions, linguistic norms, and community customs that affect the binding nature of a Nazirite vow. Half Nazirite-ship. Debating whether partial declarations, like intending to abstain from some elements of Nazirite restrictions but not all, constitute a full commitment. Key points to consider. Intent matters. The Talmud often revisits the idea that specific intention behind a Nazirite declaration matters, aligning with the broader halakhic concept of kavanah intent. Clarity in speech. The importance of clarity and precision in verbal commitments, which is central to the validity and enforceability of religious obligations, custom and interpretation, cultural and community norms influence how vows are interpreted. Rishonim and Achronim commentary. Rashi provides explanation on complex terms and context, showing readers understand the subtleties of different cases presented. Tosfot often engage with Rashi's views and introduce other Talmudic texts that shed light on the interpretation of vows and legal precedent. Other commentaries look for insights from the Rambam, Meiri, and others who discuss the broader implication of Nazirite vows. Study questions. What constitutes a conditional vow of Nazirite status? How do differing circumstances and declaration affect this status? How does the Talmud reconcile ambiguous declaration, and what does it reveal about Jewish law's view on speech and commitment? What are halachic consequences for someone who only partially commits to the restrictions of Nazirite status? Path application and halacha. Reflecting on how modern applications may arise from conditional vows and compare the ancient context to present-day issues and verbal commitments. So let's dive straight in. Hareinu Nazir min hagoros umin hadveina. Beishama omim Nazir, Beit Hillel omim eino Nazir. Amar Rabbi Yehuda af she kasher amu beis Shammai lo amu ela ba'omer harei. If one says, I am hereby Nazirite, and therefore will refrain from dried figs, the Rambam writes that if one says, I am hereby Nazirite, and therefore I will refrain from dried figs, or from cakes of dried figs, or of any statement of this kind, it's prohibited for him to derive benefit from them due to his vow. But he is not rendered a Nazirite. This ruling is according to the opinion of Beit Hillel. The Raiva disagrees with the Rambam, claiming that the Gemara indicates that according to the opinion of Beit Hillel, one is not prohibited from deriving benefit even from dried figs. Thus, with Yom Tov and the Kudei Halacha offer additional explanation of this matter, and that's from the Rambam Sefer Hilchot Nazir 110. From cakes of dried figs, Beis Shammai say his statement renders him a full-fledged Nazirite, and his addition from dried figs is insignificant, as his food is not included in the prohibition of a Nazirite, which include only products of the grapevine. And Beis Hillel say he is not a Nazirite, since he did not accept Nazirite-ship upon himself. Rabbi Yehuda said, even when Beis Shammai said that this vow takes effect, they said that only in a case where one said he meant, they are hereby forbidden to me. Many commentaries Rabbeinu Peretz cited in the Rosh Hashanah explained that although the first term he used explicitly referred to Nazirite-ship, he actually intended to state a vow of prohibition. The Rid even has a variant reading, like one who said, instead, in a case of one who said, Tosfot explained that although the word Nazirite had a specific meaning, it referred to separation in general, and therefore it can be used as an expression of a vow. Alternative approach said by Rabbeinu Peretz and Rabbeinu Azriel, that he was actually asked about his intention afterward, and he clarified that he intended to vow that dried figs were forbidden to him. The commentary on Nazir, according to some later authorities, and Rabbi Avraham Minhahar claim that this case under discussion is one in which one explicitly stated, they are hereby forbidden to me like an offering. In addition to his initial statement of I'm hereby Nazirite and will therefore refrain from dried figs. An entirely different approach is presented in the Rambam's commentary on the Mishnah. He contends that even according to the Rabbi Yehuda, Beis Shammai hold that the individual becomes a Nazirite, since the usage of the word offering indicates that he wishes to become Nazirite, as offerings are an integral part of Naziriteship. If it is not mentioned an offering, it doesn't mean this even according to Beis Shammai as an offering. In that case, it is as though he took a vow rendering the figs forbidden to him. However, Beis Shammai consider that although the vow takes effect, it is not a vow of Nazirship. The Gemara. Hareinu Nazir min hagoros umin hadveina. When it states in the Mishnah that if one says, I'm hereby Nazirite, and therefore will refrain from dried figs and from cakes of dried figs, Beis Shammai say he is a Nazirite. We'll ask, but why? The Mercer one states in the Torah, in the passage dealing with Naziriteship, from anything that is made of the grapevine, you shall not eat, Numbers 6:4. In Naziriteship, only the fruit of the vine is prohibited. The Gemara answers, Beis Shammai hold in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who says, a person does not enter a statement for naught. In other words, if one enters a statement that cannot be fulfilled as stated, his statement is interpreted in a manner that renders it relevant. Here too, Beis Shammai say that he misspoke and he actually intended to take a vow of Naziriship. And Beis Hillel hold in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, who says, one person is also held accountable for the conclusion of his statement. If one says two irreconcilable clauses, e.g. this animal is a substitute for a burnt offering and a substitute for a peace offering, the second clause is not disregarded, and the animal assumes both statuses, and this is a vow with an inherent opening, i.e. reason for dissolution. Although he said, I'm hereby Nazirite, by adding the words from dried figs and from cakes of dried figs, you indicate that his intention was that the Naziriteship would not take effect. The Gemara asks, and according to Beis Shammai too, Beis Shammai Nami, the Rid points out that the logic of this claim is in fact the opposite of which was previously attributed to Beis Shammai. As earlier in the Gemara, the Gemara explained that the second statement is not understood as clarification of the first. It therefore explains that the Gemara is suggesting an alternative formulation whose initial assumption is that this is a vow with an inherent opening to broach dissolution, and then explains that Beis Shammai holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir. See Tosfot for a different explanation. It is a vow with an inherent opening, and since they certainly agree that a vow of this kind does not take effect, why do they hold that this vow takes effect? The Gemara explains the dispute. Rather, Beis Shammai hold in accordance to the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who said a person does not utter a statement for naught, and once he said, I hereby a Nazirite, he's immediately rendered a Nazirite. When he then says, and therefore I will refrain from dried figs and from cakes of dried figs, he's coming to request. The Ita Shule, who the Ka'as say, the early commentaries point out that the wording here is imprecise, as he has not actually appeared before Halacha authority to request the dissolution of his vow. Well, it means that he regrets taking the vow, and this is comparable to one who goes to request dissolution, and that's from the Tosfot. Then Halacha authority dissolved his vow, and he regrets having taken the vow and is now seeking to dissolve it. And Beis Shammai follow the standard line of reasoning, as they say, one cannot request a halachic authority to dissolve a vow of consecrated property. The halacha is not according to the opinion of Beis Shammai. Rather, one may rescind a donation of consecrated property and dissolve vows of consecration, just as one may dissolve standard vows. However, it is a mitzvah to fulfill one's dedication to the temple, and one should seek to dissolve those vows only in case of extreme necessity. The Rambam Sefer Flah Hilchot Nedar 4:7, 1325, Shulchan Aruch Yodeh 258:1, which one can do for vows of prohibition. And since one cannot request a halacha authority to dissolve a vow of consecrated property, likewise one cannot request that halacha authority dissolve a vow of Naziriteship. One who takes the vow of Naziriteship and regrets his vow may request a halacha authority to dissolve his Naziriteship in the same manner as standard vows are dissolved. And that's the Rambam Sefer Flah Hilchot Nazir 2:1. The commentator Nazir explains that Naziriteship is compared to consecration in the verse, he shall be holy, in Numbers 6:5, as the same Hebrew word Kadosh is used for both consecration and the holiness of a Nazirite. Tosfot and other commentaries offer similar explanations. Maharit al-Dazi and the Nazir suggest that a vow of Nazirship is considered like consecration because it includes the offerings brought by the Nazirite upon completion of his term. One who seeks to have his Nazirship dissolved is effectively asking for the dissolution of the requirement to bring these offerings. The language of the Gemara offers some support for this interpretation. As the legal status of a vow of Nazirship is like that of a vow of consecrated property in this regard, and Beit Hillel hold according to the opinion of Rabbi Shimon. What's a footnote there? Beit Hillel do not even address the issue of whether one can rescind consecrated property because they hold that one who does not formulate his statement properly has not consecrated the item towards it. From the Tosfot. The following question is posed by some early commentators. Why doesn't the Gemara simply say that according to Beit Hillel, rescinding is possible in the case of consecrated property, as they did not hold? On the following page, Tosfot answered that this explanation would not account for the fact that in this situation Beit Hillel do not even prohibit one from benefiting from dried figs. Others suggest that the Gemara prefer an explanation that applies from the opinion that there is no rescinding of consecrated items, or that it wanted to suggest an answer that also suits Rabbi Yehuda's explanation of the opinion of Beis Shammai, and that's from Bein Todros. As we learn in the Mishnah, Menachot 103a, if one vows to bring a meal offering from barley, since voluntary meal offerings are bought only from wheat, the Rabbi say he must bring a meal offering from wheat. And Rabbi Shimon exempts him entirely, as he did not donate in the manner typical of donors. Since he donated an offering that cannot be sacrificed, his vow is meaningless. Here too, since he took a vow of Nazirship stating that he therefore refrained from dried figs rather than from wine, his statement is meaningless. The Gemara comments, the Mishnah is not in accordance with the opinion of the Tana. As it's taught in the Braita, Rabbi Natan says, if one says, I am hereby Nazirite, and therefore refrain from dried figs, Beis Shammai say he has rendered dried figs forbidden to himself by a vow, and he is also Nazirite, and Beis Hillel say he has rendered dried figs forbidden to himself by a vow, but he is not a Nazirite. The Rambam rules that if one says, I am hereby Nazirite, and therefore I will refrain from dried figs, or any similar statement, then dried figs are forbidden due to his vow. However, Nazirship does not take effect. The Rav objects to the Rambam's ruling, as the Gemara indicates that the Mishnah is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Nathan, and therefore one should not even be bound by a vow. The case of Mishnah states that the Rambam's version of the text probably read, the Mishnah is according to Rabbi Nathan, and the commentators reconcile Rambam's ruling without amending the text, since they maintain that this is the opinion of Beit Hillel as presented in the Mishnah, and that's from the Rambam Sefer Hilchot Zirut 110. According to Rabbi Nathan, Beis Shammai hold in accordance to the opinion of Rabbi Meir that a person does not utter statements for naught, and that he becomes a Nazirite as soon as he says, I am hereby a Nazirite, and he explains the opinion of Beis Shammai as Rabbi Yehuda does, i.e., that one in the situation has vowed that dried figs are forbidden to him, since the rest of his statement also has significance, and Beis Hillel hold in accordance to the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. So what's the footnote there? Tosfot and other commentaries have a variant reading of the text, hold in accordance to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. In other words, the opinion of Beit Hillel in the Braita is the same as Rabbi Yehuda's explanation of Beit Shammai in the Mishnah, i.e., that there is only a vow and no Nazirship. That one is held to the conclusion of his statement, and he has therefore vowed that dried figs are forbidden to him. Some say a different version. The Shana Acharina, a different version. This version is exactly the same as that of Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah. The only difference is the Gemara's addition that Beit Hillel hold in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, and if one does not express his donation in the typical manner, it does not take effect. Of the Braita, Rabbi Nathan says that Beis Shammai say he has rendered dry figs forbidden to himself by a vow, and he is not a Nazirite. Beis Hillel say he has not rendered dry figs forbidden to himself by a Nazirite. He has not rendered dry figs forbidden to himself by a vow, and he is not a Nazirite. According to this version, the opinion of Beis Shammai is as Rabbi Yehuda explained in the Mishnah, and Beis Hillel is holding according to the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, who maintains that a donation not performed in a manner typical of donors is not a donation. The Gemara discusses a case mentioned earlier. We learned in the Mishnah there, Menachos 103a, with regard to one who says, it is incumbent upon me to bring a meal offering from barley, and mincha. There are a variety of offerings of flour or bread that were brought in the temple. The Gemara here is discussing a vow to bring a voluntary meal offering. which may be brought in one of four ways: mixed with oil, baked in an oven, fried on a griddle or a pan. See Leviticus 2:1-13. All of these offerings are made of fine wheat flour and from barley. If one says, "Incumbent upon me to bring a meal offering of barley, or a meal offering of half a tenth, or a meal offering of no oil or frankincense," he is exempt, since he has not donated in the manner typical of donors. If he says, "Incumbent upon me to bring a meal offering from barley, from lentils and the like," he is questioned about his intentions. If he thought that there was such a meal offering, and he had not known that a meal offering must comprise a full tenth of fine wheat flour with oil and frankincense, he would not have vowed as he did. He is exempt. If he says that he had known, he would have vowed in the proper manner. He is obligated to bring a standard meal offering. The Kesef Mishnah explains that the ruling of the Rambam is in accordance to the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, as well as in accordance to the opinion of Zeiri in Turkey Menachot, who differentiate between one who says a meal offering of and one who says a meal offering from. Sefer Vode Hilchot Maaser Kabbalah 17:9. Since voluntary meal offerings are made only with wheat, he must bring a meal offering from wheat. If one vows to bring a meal offering from flour, since a standard meal offering is made from fine flour, he must bring one from fine flour. If he vows to bring a meal offering without oil and frankincense, he must bring with oil and frankincense in accordance with the halacha. If one vows to bring a meal offering with half a tenth of an ephah of fine flour, he must bring a meal offering with a full tenth, since a meal offering cannot have less than 1/10 of an ephah of flour. If one vows to bring a meal offering with a tenth and a half, he brings 2 units of a tenth of an ephah in his meal offering. Since half of 1/10 of an ephah is the minimum, his vow is increased to 2 full tenths. Rabbi Shimon exempts him entirely in all these cases, as he did not donate in the manner typical of donors. The Gemara asked, who is the Tana who taught that when one said, "It is incumbent upon me to bring a meal offering from barley," he brings a meal offering from wheat? Hizkiah said that this halacha is taught in a dispute between the Tanaim, and it is the opinion of Beis Shammai. He explained, didn't Beis Shammai say that one said, "I'm hereby a Nazirite, and therefore will refrain from dried figs and from cakes of dried figs"? He's a Nazirite, indicating that he is held to only the first part of his statement, and the conflicting details are ignored. So too, when he said that he will bring a meal offering from barley, he brings it from wheat. And the same analysis applies to other cases listed in the Mishnah. And Rabbi Yochanan said, you can even say that all, including Beis Hillel, agree with the opinion of the rabbis in the Mishnah, as the Mishnah may be stated with regard to one who later says to clarify his earlier statement, "Had I known that one cannot vow in this manner, that one cannot bring a voluntary meal offering from barley, I would not have vowed that way, only this way to bring a meal offering from wheat." Mentioning barley was an error on his part rather than a condition, and he actually meant to bring a standard meal offering. In this case, even Beis Hillel, who maintained that in the Mishnah here that there is no vow at all, deemed him liable to bring a proper meal offering. With regard to this ruling, Hizkiah says they taught that he must bring a meal offering from wheat only if he said that he will bring a meal offering from barley. But if he said he will bring a meal offering from lentils, adashim, lentils, then kulan noris of a type of legume that grows on a bushy plant with purple flowers. The plant is about 40 centimeters tall and the seeds grow in pods. The color of the seeds can be orange, green, yellow, brown, or black. There is evidence that lentils were consumed by people throughout the world since antiquity. And there's some pictures here of a lentil bush and flowers. Lentils are different colors. You do not bring anything. The difference is that the meal offerings of the Omer and of a sota are made from barley. So if he said from barley, he may mistakenly believe that a voluntary meal offering can be prepared from barley as well. As everyone knows that no meal offering is made from lentils, his statement demonstrates that he never intended to bring a meal offering. The Gemara asks, now considering the contrast with whose opinion does Hizkiah establish the Mishnah in Menachot? In the contrary opinion based Shammai. But lentils relative to a meal offering comparable to dry figs relative to a Nazirite. And everyone is likewise aware that one cannot be a Nazirite and therefore refrain from figs. And yet Beis Shammai say he is a Nazirite. Why not say that one who vows to bring a meal offering from lentils is obligated to bring a standard meal offering? The Gemara answers, Hizkiah retracted from it and no longer holds that the Mishnah in Menachot is according to the opinion of Beis Shammai. So what's the footnote there? Hada Beis Hizkiah. Hizkiah retracted. Tosfos explained that Hizkiah retracted his opinion that the Mishnah in Menachot is according to the opinion of Beis Shammai. Instead, he now agrees with Rabbi Yochanan that he was referring to one who says he vowed in error. Accordingly, Tosfot omit the following sentence from the Gemara. Rather, Hizkiah holds that when Beis Shammai stated their opinion, their intention was as explained by Rabbi Huda. This sentence likewise does not appear in the part of discussion of Menachot. Others claim that Hizkiah did not retract the statement about the Mishnah in Menachot, and maintain that Hizkiah in fact retracted his understanding of the opinion of Beis Shammai in the Mishnah here. He is no longer the opinion of Beis Shammai's opinion is as stated by the unattributed Mishnah, and he agreed with Rabbi Huda that according to Beis Shammai, one is bound by a vow but is not a Nazirite, and commenting Nazir Daf from the Erie. The Gemara asks, and why did he in fact retract from it? Rabbi said the Mishnah caused him difficulty and demonstrates his error. If the Mishnah is according to Beis Shammai's opinion with regard to a Nazirite, why does the Tanna specifically teach the case of one who says that he will bring a meal offering from barley? Let him teach a greater novelty, i.e., that even one who vowed to bring a meal offering from lentils is obligated to bring a meal offering from wheat. Rather, Hizkiah holds that when Beis Shammai stated their opinion there, i.e., in the Mishnah with regard to Nazirite, their intention was as explained by Rabbi Huda. The one statement can be interpreted to be meaningful, and it can have the meaning of creating a vow. The dried figs are forbidden to him. In the case of meal offering, even they agree that since one vow has no meaning, as there cannot be a meal offering made of lentils, no vow takes effect. Rabbi Yochanan said, even one who vowed to bring a meal offering from lentils must bring a meal offering from wheat. The Gemara asked, but Rabbi Yochanan is he who said that the Mishnah referring to a case of one who said, had I known that I cannot vow in this manner, I would not have vowed that way, only this way. In the case of the lentils, it is not reasonable to say that he erred in thinking that one may vow to bring a meal offering from lentils. The Gemara answers, he stated this ruling according to the statement of Hizkiah. Rabbi Yochanan was not stating his own opinion, he was challenging the ruling of Hizkiah. The Gemara explains his challenge. What is the reason you retracted your earlier opinion that the Mishnah is according to the opinion of Beis Shammai? You did so because it does not teach from lentils. That is not conclusive, as perhaps in speaking utilizing style it is not necessary as follows. It is not necessary to say that when one says it is incumbent upon me to bring a meal offering from lentils, that he brings a proper meal offering of wheat. In that situation, it can be said that by saying from lentils, he is retracting his first statement and now wants to rescind his vow. And yet, Beis Shammai hold that he is held to the third part of his statement, and they do not allow the rescinding of a vow of consecration. But if he says it is incumbent upon me to bring a meal offering from barley, since it is possible to explain that certainly this is what he said, if this meal offering that I vowed to bring from barley is consecrated like an omer meal offering. So what's a footnote? Minchas ha'omer. The omer is a measure of grain, 1/10 of an ephah. This term is used to refer to the measure of barley offered in the temple on the 16th of Nisan, the second day of Passover. The offering was brought irrespective of whether the 16th of Nisan was a Shabbat or a weekday. The omer was harvested on the night following the first day of Passover from the newly ripe barley and was prepared as roasted flour. A handful was burned on the altar, the rest was eaten by the priest. In addition to the omer, a male sheep was sacrificed as a burnt offering, together with a wine libation, 2/10 of an ephah of wheat flour as a meal offering. Once the omer had been offered, grain from the new harvest could be eaten. And that's the end of the daf. Thank you for listening. Wish you a very good day and peace in Israel. All the best. Bye.